Monopoly game hater, Susan Berkey.
Tonight I'm going to speak on the power of possibility. If you knew that anything was possible, anything at all, what would it be for you? If you knew that there were no limits in your life, what would it be that you would go for? If they told you, Matt, that you could do anything you wanted to do, would you go for it? Absolutely. That's the whole thing. Possibilities are everywhere. You can do anything that you put your mind to. When I first started running marathons, I did not know that I could run nearly as far as I thought. In fact, when they asked me how far I could run, I said, oh, I can run to about the end of the block. And the guy said, so you really want to run a marathon? And I said, well, isn't this where they teach you? And he said, yes, but you might want to consider something else. Now, if I had gone with that, if I had believed what he had to tell me, I would have never taken that first step. And how many times in life does someone tell you something and you buy it? You buy into it. You really believe, I cannot do that. This isn't for me. Or maybe someone in your life told you you couldn't do something. But great news. You can. You don't have to buy into all those self-limiting beliefs. You can make the decision right now to be something else or to do something else. You don't have to believe everything that you hear. In fact, you can make it true and speak it into existence. As you heard today when you heard my introduction, I am going to be a future best-selling author. And I am going to be a professional speaker, and I already am the writer of a blog. But when I started, I didn't do any of those. In fact, the thought of writing something was like, maybe I'll let somebody else write my story. Can you imagine that? Imagine having somebody else tell your story for you. But there I was, thinking I would believe it, that I didn't know how to write a story. And then someone said to me, well, Susan, why don't you just tell your story? Just start from the beginning. You know what that's like? That's like writing your obituary from the beginning. But truthfully, if you tell your story, that's exactly what you're doing from the beginning. Now, I went on to run that marathon, and now I strive for bigger and better things. In fact, in January, I signed up to run, they call it the Dopey Challenge. You go to Disney World and you run 50 miles. Seems like a great idea, right? But really what it is for me, it's all about pushing my limits. How far can I push myself to get to the next spot? Where do I want to be? Anything is possible. Anything. I mean, after all, do I know if I can do it or not? Nope. But I'm about to find out. Possibilities are endless. What is your possibility? What is it that you tell yourself you cannot do? What is it that you want to do? I bet all you have to do is take that first step and you'll have it. There isn't any reason that you can't. We all started walking when we were kids by taking that very first step, right? And maybe you fell down a few times. But the gift of possibility isn't in knowing that you're going to fail. The gift of possibility is what are you going to do with your failures to move on. Now, from where I went from there to now, instead of thinking about what can't I do, now I ask, what can I do? What do I want to do next? Recently, someone said to me, well, Susan, aren't you afraid of failing? And I said, no, I can fail all day long. In fact, I'm kind of good at it at some things. But I truthfully am okay with that. Because what I learn in the process about myself is greater than anything if I had just been able to achieve it from the beginning. I mean, after all, isn't that how life works? If you could do everything that you could from the beginning, where would you learn? The possibility of what you can do in life is huge. And you only have to speak it into existence. So my challenge to you this week, take one thing that you think you cannot do and speak it into existence that you can. Because what it takes is start with writing it down. Write down the one thing that you really want to be, and it seems like it might be clear out there. Like, for me, being a best-selling author is so far out there to me, but you know what? You never know until you try. So take your challenge. Take the power of being anything you want to be in this world and run with it. Because after all, there's no one telling you you can't. Mr. Toastmaster.